How's everyone doing out there in the chat? Guys, yes, we are live 100%. Comments. So, David Wilcox finally started getting into some of the anti-gravity stuff in his courses. And we'll definitely talk about that at some point. Maybe he did talk a little bit about quasi crystals and some other stuff. So I think he might have been watching some of our videos. And that's okay, David. I'm happy to bail you out as long as you get the information right in the end. That's all that matters, right? So we all got to start somewhere. Anyways, so I want to call the Senate today, and I want to show people how to do that themselves. You can go to senate.gov. We'll be calling the Senate and the U.S. Congress at congress.gov. So I will show you guys how to find your congressman and senator for your district and how to call in, and we'll be doing that live. And I am expecting a call from this doctor's office, but I know that I like I said, they're going to call back as soon as I go live. Watch. But so they'll probably call right as soon as we call. But anyways, let's go in here. This is senate.gov. I think we'll call the Senate first. And you can go to find your senators right here up at the top. And you scroll down, find your state, and then find your district. And this is my senator. His name is Jack Reed. And I'm going to give his office a call live here on the air and let them know we're live right off the bat. So I'm not, wiretapping or recording their office. I'm going to be doing most of the talking. I just want to, Hi, I'm calling in live from my YouTube channel, and I wanted to talk to you guys today and a little bit about this UAP task force and also the White House Office of Technology Policy of Science and Technology Policy. Are you familiar with OSAP and ATIP? Well, this is part of something called the Big Phone Home, and you can check that out. And it's just an effort to try to bring more transparency to this subject and also educate the offices of our government on these things a little bit better so that they can understand, where our technology is currently at in these programs that are being declassified and where it's going to go projected in the next 20 years and the billions of dollars that are going to be involved in that. As you know, Senator Jack Reed was recently at the National Quantum Initiative at URI down in Kingston. He's part of this effort to put money into quantum computing, and this is a big part of this White House technology, initiative to really push a lot of these technologies, which in reality, we think they came from extraterrestrial craft, and that the government still is, reluctant to admit that they have, crashed extraterrestrial craft that they've been reverse engineering. So there's a lot of people that believe that. There's some people that believe that the government's, using these laser devices to, project holograms, and that that they're planning a faked alien invasion, that there really are no extraterrestrials, and this is all government technologies. Well, regardless of that, I think it's important for your office and these people to be aware of these technologies. And I'd like any information on who I should reach out to share that information, because I have quite a bit of it. Oh, they hung up. Hello. Yes. Thank you for reaching out to our office. We really appreciate the call. Wow. They don't care, man. They just said thank you for reaching out to our office. We appreciate the comments. She was like, what the hell? She's probably like, oh my God, what the heck? All right, let's call Congress now. You ready? Congress.gov. How do we call Congress? Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Call Congress. There's an international switchboard number somewhere. I don't know why they don't have it just on the main page. Let's go find this. Call Congress switchboard. Call Congress switchboard. How to call Congress. This is the number right here. It's 212-224-3121. All right. It is on speaker. I don't know why they can't hear it, man. No. Damn it. All right. So let's we're gonna type this in. All right. So this is the number right here. 212-224. Yeah, 3121.
Your call cannot be completed at this time. Please try again later.
Uh-oh, they're jamming me. They're like, no, we do not want anyone else's life to change. These people need to think that the government always tells the truth. Jeez. Well, what I should have said, right, is I should have, been more upfront with the whole Adams project, and that, they collected UFO debris samples from the public and then sent them to the U.S. Army, and they're analyzing them, and we're learning, lots about the technologies. This is something we're going to discuss later tonight too. I'm having Ian Crossland on tonight, who's my friend that got me onto Timcast. My buddy, he jams out on guitar, and yeah. So this is us tonight, and Ian's going to be jumping on, and so definitely go and subscribe to Ian Crossland's channel right here, and get some behind the scenes stuff on Tim Pool and whatnot. Tim Pool's going to have me back on at some point soon, hopefully, and to talk more about this ATIP stuff and the big phone home and all these initiatives that are going on. And I'm sure to give shout outs to everyone, who helps support this channel. So what we're going to do is I wanted to talk, specifically about, this material, this metamaterials that are spintronic waveguides and energy harvesting. And there's a video. I gotta find the video now. Hold on a second. Boom, here it is. It's called This Alien-Like Metal. All right, so this alien-like metal may one day power your electronics. This is by Verge Science. Go subscribe to their channel. I'm using this, as for educational purposes only. I'm not trying to monetize this or steal your video. Fair use. We're just trying to
decades, this metal has slipped
help share the
primarily
knowledge.
under the radar. It currently only has a few uses in everyday life, and is mostly known for its brilliant colors and crystals like these. But in the years ahead, bismuth could change the very meaning of the word green in green energy. People have known about bismuth for thousands of years, but it was first identified as an element in 1753. It was typically mined along with lead, copper, and tin for use in things like cosmetics and paint. It's a brittle, iridescent metal with a low melting point and the ability to form beautiful geometric crystals when melted and then slowly cooled. Where bismuth is most widely known is in the pharmaceutical industry. You're probably familiar with this medicine known as bismuth subsalicylate, better known as Pepto-Bismol. Every dose of this antidiarrheal contains up to a quarter gram of bismuth.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Andreas on
Now,
at some point
ingesting a
too,
heavy
dude.
metal
So
isn't something we condone. But this is where bismuth differs from other heavy metals. It exists on the periodic table in what's known as the poisoner's corridor, hanging out with lead, mercury, thallium, and polonium. But it's surprisingly safe to humans. Even though it's surrounded by toxic elements, it's totally benign, which makes it not only safe to eat, but fun to play with. Here in a makerspace on Staten Island, we're going to try and grow some crystals to see how they form. Bismuth has a very low melting point of just over 270 degrees Celsius, which makes the process relatively simple, but also requires a bit of patience. Here's how it works. Heat the bismuth up in a pot, skim off the impurities or slag from the top, and then wait for the crystals to form as it cools. With a bit of luck, you'll get something like this. That's bonkers, look at that. And you can see it's oxidizing now, so it's turning this purple color. Neat alien-like crystals aside, bismuth also has some unique properties that make it a valuable tool for researchers.
What I think about is, how do we combine bismuth with other elements? And in that sense, the properties of bismuth that I'm mostly interested in are its electronic properties, how the electrons
Lewis,
are
good to
arranged
see you
around
here,
the
man.
nucleus.
We
And
wouldn't be here if
we
it
look at
weren't for
that,
you, brother.
bismuth has some really interesting properties.
Robert Hoy is a
What's up,
lecturer
Mark?
in materials at Imperial College London.
Mark's in the chat.
He spoke with us about
Falcon
bismuth's
Space Labs.
electronic properties and promising future applications. Robert and his team are focused on creating bismuth-based semiconductors for use in photovoltaics. In the past 10 years or so, scientists have been looking into replacements for silicon that are cheaper and more efficient. Many have turned toward lead halide and cadmium telluride solar cells, both of which have electronic structures that make them very good at absorbing sunlight. But those materials are toxic or scarce and not very sustainable.
The good thing about bismuth-based compounds is that they are not toxic. I mean, the precursors are not toxic, the material's not toxic, and if it degrades within the field, then it's not going to harm the environment.
For this same reason, bismuth has started replacing lead in electronic solder, fishing weights, shotgun shot, and even for water pipes in people's homes. It's been coined the green element for its ability to replace lead in many applications, and in doing so, reduce the possibility of lead entering into ground or drinking water when these things eventually end up in a landfill years down the road. Robert sees huge potential in bismuth-based photovoltaics to one day be
No,
able
this
to
is where
harvest
it gets
light
good.
indoors rather than outdoors. While traditional photovoltaic cells rely heavily on infrared light, the bismuth-based semiconductors he's developing have a slightly wider band gap, which determines how good a material is at conducting electricity. This allows the semiconductors to absorb more visible light, but prevents them from absorbing infrared light, which might seem like a disadvantage, but not to Robert.
This apparent disadvantage can be turned into a huge advantage if we take them indoors. Having photovoltaics indoors is really important because you have billions of these smart devices which are autonomous, they're not connected to the wall. You have to power them somehow. So if each of these smart devices has a photovoltaic, then you can remotely power them. So actually, the band gap for bismuth-based compounds is exactly the right value. We found that if you take bismuth-based compounds indoors, you can increase the efficiency by a factor of 5.
With everything from temperature sensors to alarm systems to lighting systems in your home, the Internet of Things could amount to billions, if not trillions of devices that could benefit from indoor photovoltaics, replacing the need for batteries that rely on metals like lithium, cadmium, cobalt, and more.
So you can have a situation where you never have to replace a battery ever again using these
You hear this?
bismuth-based semiconductors.
I've been talking about this for 15 years now.
Never having to replace a battery in your home's devices sounds like a dream. The only question, is there enough bismuth to go around? Bismuth is pretty rare. It ranks 65th in elemental abundance in the Earth's crust, less than 0.001%. But Robert's not super worried about that, because a little bit of bismuth goes a long way.
So we make what's called thin films, which are layers of this material, which are say 500 to a micron thick. In contrast to silicon, because for silicon you need quite a thick layer, so you need quite a lot of material. You just need a small amount of bismuth, and that's all you need to make this device. Even though bismuth isn't so widely used commercially right now, there's enough bismuth in the world right now to support the future widespread deployment of bismuth-based semiconductors.
So the next time you grab a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, Take a
Yeah.
moment to appreciate.
So next time you go buy precious metals, buy bismuth. It's really cheap and it's not. It's really cool. You know, you can melt it on your stove in a pan. Yeah. So definitely, everyone in my channel, I'll tell you guys, buy bismuth. I'm going to buy a couple pounds of it. And I know Mark's got a couple pounds of bismuth for the lab. But what I want to talk about with bismuth and elaborate a little bit more on what he's talking about with these photo energy harvesters and that wide band gap. And I think that this material, may end up having some, insights into how this works. And so this is a layered photonic band gap materials, and this is something I've talked about for like 15 years now. I had this whole vision that these things, were materials that would capture light and store it as energy and be able to harvest, just light and use, ambient light as energy. And then all they have to do is create this surface plasmon effect on the surface. On all these surfaces, because there's all these layers of surfaces, and what happens is these plasmons are basically electromagnetic fields, xenic fields really they'd be xenic waves or Summerfield waves, and these would form coherent states and could be used on the sublayers for quantum computing and all kinds of other stuff once this, you figure out where to channel this energy to. I don't know if this is the necessarily the, because they gave us this micron spacing. It was like 6 millimeters to 30 millimeters of, magnesium, layers of magnesium and layers of bismuth that was in this metal. So bismuth is, the reason they believe bismuth was used is because of its Larmor precession and called the spin relaxation time. So what happens is, it's really quick to jump around and change states. It's not resistant at all. A lot of things you'd have to pump a lot of energy and they, then they turn. But bismuth is just like, it just switches, and it's the perfect wave guide. So it's amazing that there's so much of this, and we still haven't quite figured out the technology to make use of it yet, but it's coming in the next 20 years. It's one of those things, if this woman was smart, she might have listened a little bit and took some stock tips. But yeah, this is the smartphones of the future. Yeah, in the near future, the smartphones are going to have these ambient energy harvesters that are going to be able to take, and harness the sunlight. You just leave your phone out in the sun for a little bit, upside down, and it will just sit there and charge up. Light harvesting. Let's watch up some videos on that. All right, so I want to put another video on real quick on light harvesting, and then we're going to try Congress again, because I think I got the number wrong. It said 212, and someone pointed out that it was a 202 area code for DC. So we're going to go ahead and call Congress again in a second. But well, plants use light harvesting. It's a much slower and much different cycle, but bismuth. Oh, this is it. This is the one.
And CO2 by 2050. And one of the requirements for this further ambition scenario was to increase the amount of renewable energy by a factor of 4. And of course, going beyond this and getting towards net zero by 2050 requires us to go beyond these targets. So as you can see, there's a significant need to increase our investment and accelerate the deployment of renewable energy sources. And in this webinar series, you've heard about wind power, but another important source of renewable energy are photovoltaics. And recently, the Henry Royce Institute put together a roadmap on various different technologies that are needed for us to achieve our net zero carbon emissions target. And one of the key technologies are photovoltaics. And that's because the solar resource is vast and is ubiquitous across the world. If this block here were to represent the amount of terrestrial solar energy we receive, this would be 10 to the 8 terawatt hours per year. And that's 4 orders of magnitude larger than the amount of electricity the world needs. Despite that, photovoltaics only make a very small contribution to all the electricity generated worldwide. In the UK, photovoltaics is only 3% of all electricity generated. So there's a lot of potential to accelerate the deployment of solar cells and increase our use of this renewable source of energy. Another energy challenge in the near future will be the fact that a lot of devices will be small and autonomous devices which all connect with each other, and they're part of this ecosystem called the Internet of Things. For example, in the future, you may be wearing clothing with some sensors that track your fitness and which may communicate with your home to tell your home when to switch on the lights and start boiling the water. And it's expected that by 2025, there will be 75 billion devices part of this Internet of Things ecosystem. And many of these devices will be small and autonomous devices, such as wireless sensors. And in a lot of cases, these devices will be in locations where it's not really practical to connect them to the grid. For example, they may be on the outside of buildings, they may be on your ceiling, or they may be in a tree. So we need to have a portable source of energy to power these devices. And maybe the first thing you think about is to power these devices using batteries. That certainly will work. But if we go beyond a certain number of devices and a certain level of complexity in this IoT ecosystem, it no longer becomes practical to use batteries for every single autonomous device. And some people predict that if we relied solely on batteries to power all these devices, we would limit 80% of the potential of IoT from being realized. So we need to have alternative sources of portable energy that will last for a longer period of time, and ideally will last for the entire lifetime of the device itself. And one of those options is to use a solar cell. And of course, many of these devices will be located indoors, inside our homes, inside our workplaces. So we need to be able to harvest the ambient lighting that we have available. So we can use indoor photovoltaics, and this plot shows you the power consumption used by various different wireless sensors. And you can see that indoor solar cells are already sufficient to power a large number of these wireless devices already, such as the radio frequency identification tags or Wi-Fi. And the indoor PV market is rapidly growing right now. So the compound annual growth rate for indoor PV is 70%. And that's larger than the growth rate for the wireless sensors market, and also larger than the growth rate of the outdoor PV market as well. So I share with you 2 energy challenges. And I said that solar cells could play quite an important role in helping us to address those 2 energy challenges. So what are solar cells and how do they produce electrical power? Well, on the left-hand side here, we have a structure for a typical photovoltaic device stack. And usually we will have a light absorber. This is our semiconductor that can absorb light. It's sandwiched between 2 charge transport layers, as well as 2 electrodes. And one of those electrodes needs to be transparent so that we can shine light through it and into the absorber itself. Over here, we have the band diagram for this device stack. And here you see we have the absorber, and over here is the transparent electrode here. So we shine light in through the transparent electrode, we absorb that light, and that excites an electron across the band gap, which leaves behind a hole in the valence band. And because these bands are bent, we have an internal electric field within our photovoltaic device that will separate these charges in opposite directions so that we can extract them into the external circuit where they can be used for doing electrical work. So there's lots of different photovoltaic technologies. And the chart here from the National Renewable Energy Lab highlights for you the development of these different materials over time. The most widely used material for outdoor solar cells is crystalline silicon, and that's been under development for 4 decades. But silicon has its own challenges. So that's motivated a lot of groups around the world to identify alternative materials to silicon. And their development is highlighted in this bottom right corner here. So if we zoom into this, what you can see is that one of the fastest developing technologies are represented by these yellow circles here, and these are lead-halide perovskite solar cells. Perovskite solar cells were first reported in 2009, and in 2019, they reached 25% efficiency. And that is more efficient than multicrystalline silicon and nearly as efficient as monocrystalline silicon. And what's remarkable about this is that this was achieved in just 1 decade, whereas silicon was developed for 4 decades. So this is what a perovskite is. So here we have a typical lead-halide perovskite device stack, and this is very similar to the device stack that I showed you earlier in the slides. If we zoom in on the material itself, here you can see the crystal structure of a lead-halide perovskite. So perovskite refers to a family of materials with the same crystal structure, and the stoichiometry is AbX3. So in this case, the B site cation is lead, and each of these lead cations is coordinated with 6 halides, which could be iodide, for example. And these lead halide octahedra share corners to form this cubic unit cell. And to keep this whole structure together, we have this large A site cation, and this could be, for example, methammonium. What's really unusual about the perovskites is that they can be made using very simple fabrication methods. So for example, most perovskites are made just by solution processing, and that's where you make a precursor solution containing lead iodide and methammonium iodide. You spread the solution over your substrate, spin coat it, and then anneal, and you have a very nice perovskite film. And the 25% efficient perovskite devices are made by the solution processing method. Contrast that to silicon. With silicon, to make the best silicon solar cells, you need a process at above 1,000 degrees Celsius. You need to use very complex and expensive equipment, and also a very clean environment. Whereas with the lead halide perovskites, you can make the best solar cells using equipment that most groups around the world have ready access to. And this has been an important contributing factor to the fast cycle learning that's been witnessed with the perovskites. And the key enabling factor for this is the defect tolerance of the perovskites. So as I mentioned earlier, defect tolerance means that you can have lots of defects, but still have low non-rated recombination rates. And the model that's being put forward to explain why this occurs is based on the electronic structure. So here on the left-hand side, we have the electronic structure for traditional semiconductors, and this could be, for example,
The
silicon
deep
or
states.
gallium arsenide. And in these materials, the original atomic orbitals hybridize when we form the compound to form a bonding orbital in the valence band and an anti-bonding orbital in the conduction band. And when you form defects, you end up with dangling bonds which form at energies close to where the original atomic orbitals are. So in this case, we end up with defect states close to the middle of the band gap. And these defect states are very harmful to the optoelectronic properties. They cause very high rates of irreversible energy losses.
Yeah.
By contrast, the perovskites have a very different electronic structure. In this electronic structure,
He's getting really technical now. You guys can go check that out here at Energy Future Lab, Futures Lab on YouTube. Subscribe to them. This video is called Webinar Bismuth-Based Semiconductors for Solar and Indoor Light Harvesting. And I guess this is what he's did. They used to use silicone wafers for solar panels, the old photovoltaic cells, and then they switched to perovskites, and I think now they're going towards these bismuth. So these things that they have, this layered bismuth and magnesium, materials could maybe be the technology of the future. From whether you believe it's us from the future or whether you think it's extraterrestrials from other planets, it's up to you. I think we need a lot more information on that, and that's why I think the governments should be setting up this UAP office. They have, but and it should investigate all these types of things, and sort it out scientifically. We need more scientists to get on board with this. I was let's call Congress real quick, because I want to get into that. There was this National Quantum Initiative, though. I wanted people to who weren't aware of this. This was at URI Physics, and I went down there for the last part. I didn't get there to chat when Jack Reed was there. It would have been great to speak with him there directly, because I could have probably caught his ear a little bit better. But he doesn't seem like his office is too concerned with this. But there's billions of dollars going into this, so he was obviously concerned enough to go there, But this is quantum computing, and maybe it would be worthwhile to reach out to the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy too. Let's see if they have a phone number we can call them. Already called Jack Reed's office. Let's call the White House. All right, this is the Congress established the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy in 1976. The OSTP advises the president and others within the executive office of the president on the scientific, engineering, and technological aspects of the economy, national security, homeland security, health, foreign relations, and the environment. OSTP leads efforts across the federal government to develop and implement sound science and technology policies and budgets, and works with the private and philanthropic sectors, state, local, tribal, and territorial governments, the research and academic communities, and other nations towards this end. OSTP also assists in the Office of Management and Budget with an annual review and analysis of federal research and development in budgets, and serves as a source of scientific and technological analysis and judgment for the president with respect to major policies, plans, and programs of the federal government. So, policies, plans, and programs. And so, programs of the federal government. So, there you have it. Eric Lander. Who's Eric S. Lander? Sounds like slander. Eric Slander. Oh. Is this guy at MIT? Is he? Oh, yes, he is. He's the 11th director. Interesting. And they have a phone number here. Shall we do it? You guys ready for this? Oh, I only got 50 people watching, man. This is it's because we're in the middle of the day. Everyone has to be at work, dude. That's your old stomping ground, Paul? Really? They have a pretty sweet physics department and science building there, I must say. Did I post this on YouTube and stuff? Call it meow. All right, let's call Congress first. I'll hold this up. Crap. Okay. We got much time. All right, they're busy. They're busy at the Congress. And I'm going to save this number in my phone, man. We should be calling every day. Like this should be like an everyday thing. It should, like, when you wake up, and if I'm not working today, even call from your lunch break. Just be like, should be an everyday thing until we have transparency on this issue, until every one of them knows that we exist. Us loony bins who believe in aliens are out in every state. Yeah, right. Anyways, I know I'm not crazy. I'm a little crazy for doing all this. But hey, if it was a straight mind I had, you wouldn't have known me all these years. Can you guys hear this?
No one is available to answer your call at this time. Please leave a message after the tone. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hi, I'm with a press-related YouTube channel, and my name's Jeremy Riss, and I was hoping to get in touch with someone who could, talk to me about the National Quantum Initiative and help promote that drive to train the new workforce, the new quantum workforce of the future. Run a science and technology channel on YouTube, and I'm interested in doing a story. So please get in touch with me. My number is 508-84. Okay. Well, there we go. Sorry, I had to mute out the last bit of my number so all the Looney Tunes don't call me. All right, let's go. Recent. We'll call Congress again. I'm trying them again. They were busy a second ago. Let's get the switchboard. Ah, there we go.
The number you dialed is not in service.
It's not in service. You heard that? Not in service of the people. Maybe in service of, the big banks and the financial and institution, which we're slowly taking down with cryptocurrency. Yes, crypto is the future of banking and money. And we will not have a central bank much longer. We can get away with these banksters robbing our wealth, printing money out of nothing, thin air, diluting our currency, diluting our buying power of our money. Unless you got a 5.4% raise last year, then you got a pay cut. So the quantum workforce. Yes, good question. What is the quantum workforce? So this sort of quantum initiative that was put on, where they invited all these speakers on quantum computing to go and give presentations at URI down at the University of Rhode Island, was all paid for by this White House office. And this guy lays it out here. He says, they contacted me. I was working at NIST, and they wanted me to, come there and be part of this. So, I joined up, and I'm down. And this guy's name is Jake Taylor. That's the first speaker right there, Jake Taylor. So then they have Rick Muller of Sandia National Labs after that, given a good introduction. But these are test beds. But where we're going with this is all this photonic spintronic stuff. So their whole idea of keeping this stuff super cooled and using these superconducting qubits, it's neat, but I don't think it's as functional as what we could do with photonic crystals and quasi crystals and metamaterials and layered band gap materials and all these types of topological semiconductors and whatnot. I think that is going to be the future, and will be how we build better quantum computers, because we don't need one of the biggest problems with quantum computing right now. It's projected in this projection that it's 20 years out, that we're going to need 20 years of research and development until we get a functioning quantum computer that will actually get to that, what is it, 10 to the 7th qubits. So where's that one? So that one is let me find that library. It's in my history. Yeah, I have another video. It's one of these. So if you go here to, there we go. I'll send you guys the link here. So URI is your stomping ground. Go check this out. I talked about this the other day. So they have all the lectures up and available, where all these experts came from around the world to come to Rhode Island, my state, to talk about quantum computing and how we're going to build this quantum workforce of the future, because they go into the colleges and universities to get, try to get the young students interested in this stuff. I didn't see too many. I saw a lot of students on campus, but I didn't see a single one in that conference at all. It was sad, man. In any case, yeah, so go there and check that out for yourselves, and Ian Crossland's going to be on tonight, guys. My buddy Ian. We're going to talk about all kinds of this stuff, probably rehash of some of this stuff and more. But I wanted to, yeah, that's at 4 p.m. tonight. If people want to tune into that, gonna call Congress one more time, and they're busy now. It's crazy. Well, I don't know, guys. You just keep talking to these offices, about, Bob Bigelow. Say, do you know who Bob Bigelow is? Do you know that he is a Bigelow Aerospace Corporation that did a whole bunch of these black programs and tried to get UFO debris and built a whole facility to get UFO debris? But they wrote a whole 150-page intelligence report on what, the materials of the future, aerospace construction might be. And based on a lot of the speculation, I'm sure that, I speculated on a lot of this stuff openly on the internet for the last 15 years. I don't know how I got this down. I got the download though, like years ago. And I've been talking about these, light trapping crystals and light trapping surfaces ever since. And trying to get that figured out and get people more aware of that is the future, that's where things are going to be going. And it's not just trapping light, but we're also going to learn how to manipulate the gravitational field through high frequency gravitational waves, and creating our own gravity fields, and also warping the space-time metric. That quantum mechanics. So yeah, the quantum initiative is pretty cool. I wanted to show you the other one. There's another so if you go to that page with there it is. There's, I think it's this last session.
Aim for delivering a full-time quantum computer.
Yeah.
At around 2029.
This is the hard roadmap. Oh, whoa, where we go? Where was that? No. This one.
But in principle, it's just the scaling
Right
of
here.
technology.
The scaling technique. So this hardware roadmap, this is an important graphic. I'm going to bring that full screen so people can see. 2019, this is where we are today. Where we're going to have 10 to the 2. Then we're going to have 10 to the 3. Then we maybe have 10 to the 4th. And then once we, by 2029, 10 years from that date, 9 years. Sorry. It's 8 years from today, and it's 10 to the 6th is what we need to get to as far as qubits. And then we'll have what we need. But the biggest problem with quantum computing is actually the cooling and keeping the things, super cooled, because they have to be, super cooled to really, really cold temperatures in order to work, to get these superconducting states to work with these qubits. And I just wanted to point out that if you look up, the research that's been done with surface plasmon polaritons and superconductivity and superfluidity, you'll learn about this whole, optical enhancement. So they can make room temperature superconductors, basically. And it's all about trapping these surface plasmon polaritons and getting them to vibrate in coherent states. And through quantum entanglement, you get this superconductivity and superfluidity. It's been reported. And tunable terahertz surface plasmon polariton. Yeah, this is all coming out. It's all coming out, man. This is like, this is a shame that, David Wilcox is getting 10,000 people watching him spew about portals and who knows what. And he's just missing key pieces of information connecting all this. So once you be able to trap and harness light, you can then, use externally applied, electronics on the surface of the craft to warp, different parts of it. They also do what's called this laser stuff. So there's a whole thing on this, right? If you look up on the drive.com, he goes over all the patents in this article. It's one of the best out there by Brett Tingley, who we still need to get on the show, by the way, Brett. I gotta reach back out to you, remind you he was kind of busy when I contacted him last time. But yeah, they have all this stuff on these where they use directed energy weapons and blast the air actually in front of the craft. And it creates these hot pressurized gas wave, which supercavitates the air in front of the craft. It basically boils it so fast that it explodes and blasts out of the way, creating this vacuum pocket that the slipstream vacuum pocket that they can just dive into. And so it can go like Mach 20 through air. And it might even be able to go in and out of the water because it can do the same thing for the water. They've already, they have supercavitating torpedoes. The South Korea's already shown off their technology with that. And yeah, there's lots of interesting research going on. I'll just say that with the supercavitating plasmas, and because that's another element of it. Because yeah, when we can get anti-gravity and propulsion, you still need to overcome air resistance forces when you start going to really high speeds and stuff. So this is how they do it. They blast that air out, and it supercavitates and expands. And that wave of expansion, the expanding wave, creates this envelope. And by the time it collapses, you've already passed through the envelope. And there's tons of research apparently that Lockheed Martin and all these other companies did into this, and NASA, DOE, DOD, DHS. But this is the UAP. If you want to talk about UAPs, things that go Mach 20 I would call that a UAP, especially if it can do inertial cancellation like these things are rumored to be able to do. But again, we're all trying to build this stuff and do experiments with it in the laboratory. And I think that that's where the science is at. I think that the science is the way to bring about disclosure, because the more we, connect, the more dots we connect with our educational and scientific understanding of this universe, the more we're going to be able to, navigate the future and understand what's going to be happening in the next 20 years. So there's a 10-year and 20-year initiative. It said 2029. They said 10 years. That's 10 years. But within 20 years, they're going to have the material. They said it might take us longer to get the materials and stuff, but that could all change, man. It's all about waking people up and getting more people on board with this. So yeah, call your congressperson. Oh, so this is how you find it. Okay, so Rhode Island. Rhode Island. Is it Sicily or Sheldon? I think it's Sheldon. I don't know. You guys want to call Sheldon? Huh? If I get another... I did the call to the senator, man. I already did it. I did it earlier. I'm trying to call Congress. 2 senators and 1 representative. So I want to call we'll call Sheldon. This is Sheldon right here, right? I just want to make sure he's my precinct. Yeah. So he's 224. All right. So we get the direct office number. So it's 202 224 2921. You ready to call Sheldon? Are you guys ready to call Sheldon? Yes, call again. Look, I'm not calling until I get like a $10, $20 super chat. Come on, I'm not wasting my time. Come on, someone cough it up. We're gonna do a prize giveaway. All right, I don't need money to call them. Let's call them up. Ready? For the big phone home.
Sheldon Waddell's office. How can I help you?
Hi, good morning. And I was just calling to voice my concerns as a citizen of Rhode Island that the government should be paying. I mean, Sheldon's office should be paying more attention to this whole UAP task force thing. There's an initiative called the Big Phone Home that has encouraged me to call today to ask for more transparency within the government. Apparently, there's some materials that have been recovered from people that said to be from UAP or unidentified aerial craft, and they were sent to the U.S. Army under a CRADA cooperative research agreement, where the Army analyzed these things, and I think they're withholding results. There was this other company, this individual named Bigelow. He's a billionaire that started an aerospace company called Bigelow Aerospace, and they did this research with the ATIP program and OSAP. They got a bunch of defense contracts with the government to research UFOs, and they wrote a 154-page scientific report that you can find if you search for Anthony Bragalia, Bragalia. He's the gentleman that filed the FOIA, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there on advanced aerospace materials that were apparently are being used in some kind of advanced craft, and there's going to be there's a whole. Are you familiar with the White House Office of Science and Technology's quantum initiative? There's billions of dollars that are going into funding for these quantum programs, and training the quantum workforce of the future, because these technologies that are coming out of these black programs related to UAP are very valuable, and they're going to be worth a lot of money, and they're also going to save humanity. This is a call about the future of humanity itself, really. And are you familiar with the term the Great Filter?
No, I'm not.
So there's this thing called the Drake equation, and it predicts how many spacefaring civilizations should be in the galaxy. And there's this point that we're at right now, and it's called the Great Filter. And the explanation called for the Fermi's paradox. This was a famous physicist named Enrico Fermi. He worked on the Manhattan Project. He had this paradox for the probability from the Drake equation says that we should have extraterrestrials everywhere, but why don't we see them? And the reason they said that why don't we see them is because we all die out or destroy ourselves during this atomic phase and this dangerous teenage year transition period that we're currently in right now as a civilization. And so I think it's important to realize that humanity is so much more than it is right now. I know there's lots of problems that your office gets called with every day, but I think this is something that's bigger than all that stuff. And the technology that is coming out, it has the potential to change humanity and save humanity. But I think there's forces within the government that don't want this technology out because they're afraid, and a lot of it's being used to build weapons right now. And that's I just am very fearful for the future of the world in the next 10 to 20 years once these technologies become viable. and also, you know, I understand that there's going to be a lot of investment and money that's going to be passed around for the research and development and the training of this workforce. So yeah, I just wanted to, you know, reach out, and my name's Jeremy Riss, RYS. And if you want to get in touch with me for a briefing, I also think that a lot of the information that, you know, the offices are getting from this from these UAP debriefings from the Pentagon are missing some important information, and I think I could provide that to your office if anyone at your office has the technical ability and the, you know, understanding to get into the physics and the science and technology end of this. I'd love to have a sit down conversation with them to help you know, better educate your office on just where we're at right now.
All right, great. And your name was Jeremy Riss, RYS?
Yes, and I'm from Pawtucket.
Okay, great. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I will pass your messages along to the senator and include your name in case the office would like to reach out. And what's the best number?
It's 508.
So much for calling in. Hope you have a great day.
Awesome. Look forward to speaking with your office.
All right. Bye-bye.
Great. Yeah, maybe I'd be better if I rehearsed it and made a better script, man. But I should have. Yeah, right. They'll be forced to call me back. Oh, this is great. Yeah, you guys got to do this too, man. Now you guys got to all follow in my wake and kind of like say some more stuff based on what I said, and, you know, no fear, guys. This is about, you know, waking these people up, man, and really hit them with some existential stuff. You know what I mean? She just got straight to the point. She's like, I ain't trying to hear any of this. Yeah, they're all screeners, man. But trust me, they're looking for people to talk to. If you come off good, and you know, I'm sure there's people watching that may have military background or insight, and, you know, call and tell them who you are. You don't have to violate your security oaths and spill the beans, but man, get them hyped. I would guess like 26 based on her voice. 26 years old. Get it down, point, yeah, then drop the truth. Just that's it. Just and tell them why they should be interested. It's because there's billions of dollars going into this. Mention that White House Office of Science and Technology Policy and the Quantum Initiative. That's a big thing. That shows that the White House is taking this seriously. Why? Because the Department of Defense is taking this seriously. Why? Because this technology could destroy humanity or save it. This is a fight for that right now. And Joe Biden. We got Joe Biden. I'm sorry. Let's just watch some call Joe now. Let's call Joe. Yes! Joe Biden's next. No. Are we doing this, guys? Are we really doing this? We're really doing this, guys.
White House.
Hi, how's it going today?
Good. How can I help you?
I was just calling to, you know, say good job on the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. That was.
Thank you for calling the White House comment line. All comment line volunteer operators are currently assisting.
Oh,
Please continue to hold.
they put me to the comment line.
Expected wait time to speak with an operator is currently greater than 8 minutes.
Yeah. All right. So that was wrong. You got to like. Yeah, he transferred me, and they said it was an 8-minute wait for the call, guys. They transferred me to the comments line. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know. They were just like, White House. I was like, oh God, I'm on a list now, buddy. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. So many people call the White House, and I'm just congratulating them on that and saying that they should. I don't even know what to say to them, man. They're just. The thing is, it's going to be some operator who's, all you're going to do is like blow their mind a little bit, and they'll be like, you say the right thing to them. I hope she was shook by that a little bit. Yes, call the Lockheed Skunk Works next. You ready? I'm gonna call and ask him. Tell him I'm calling about the TR3B. All right. Yes. I need to talk to someone. We have a TR3B that crashed. Yes. Hello. Is this Lockheed Skunk Works? Yes, we have a TR3B. Oh, contact us. Oh, there's the Employee Service Center. Call them up and tell them that let's get I gotta get some I have a TR3B on my roof. Oh God, what am I gonna say, you guys? What should we say? Dude? Building 600. Yeah. Yes, Turbot. Tell me like some kind of like classified craft I should be calling about. It's a TR3B illegally parked here. Oh my God. All right. So 600, building 600. What's the phone number for building 600? Yeah, where's the phone number, man? I'm not seeing this. This is the spot, Valley Forge, PA. How long has this facility been here? Oh, here we go. Remediation project manager. Corporate communications. So this is the number you call to call Lockheed Martin. Guys, all right. Yeah, we'll start a White House petition, dude. White House petition. Petitions.whitehouse.gov. All right, are we doing this? This is, I think, the best idea yet, man. How we can get political. All right. Menu. White House petitions. How do I start a petition? Petitions.whitehouse.gov. Is this the Tumblr now? Because it's just going to White House now. It doesn't have the petitions anymore. Right on the white, it just has a Tumblr. That's weird, man. Petitions. No, it just goes right to White. It forwards right to whitehouse.gov. We the people petitions. Wow, they don't even have it anymore. You can't even do it. Well, I don't even think they had that one good idea. Just like they killed it, man. Yeah. Get to your designated protest zone. Damn, dude. Yeah, Steve Justice, if you guys didn't know, is now working for Virgin Galactic. Hello. Hello. Hey, did you know that we're not alone? Telemarketer did not want to hear that. All right. So yeah, Steve Justice is now working with Lockheed, Virgin Galactic. Boom. Vice President of Engineering, Virgin Galactic Holdings Incorporated. So Richard Branson is the billionaire who's closest to the technology. Elon Musk, not paying attention, doesn't have a warp drive division of SpaceX. Then you got Jeff Bezos in last place. His what happened? What was his space company's name? Blue Origin. Yeah, lots of people quit and said bad things about him and his way he runs the company, and all this other stuff. Yeah, so Jeff Bezos in last place, completely oblivious. But it looks like Richard Branson probably keeping his mouth shut about it too. He doesn't seem to be bragging about it. Let's look up Virgin Galactic warp drive. Yeah, they did suborbital space flight. Yeah, okay. Virgin Galactic unveils. So they're talking about this. They're putting this idea out there a little bit with this, warp drive.
Faster than light travel is one of the more common technologies in science fiction. It's just plain cool to fly around the galaxy, visiting a different star every week while your red shirts take bullets for you. Without faster than light travel, science fiction would be limited to very...
Boom. Yeah, so there could be ways to create this. But yeah, warping space-time. Look at this. Who's this by? This is D-News. NASA Johnson spaceship. Yeah, Harold Sunny White. Yeah. We talked to that guy recently. Mark did anyway. At the last conference that he was at down in was it New Mexico? Not New Mexico. Arizona. Tucson, something. Boom. Yeah, this is really cool stuff. Music. Cool. Warp drives. Elon, you're in second place. of the 3 billionaires that have space programs that we know of. Bigelow had a space program too, but they went belly up. Interesting. What happened to Bigelow? Not hiring anymore. They laid off their entire workforce. Damn. Bob Bigelow. He investigated UFOs and paranormal phenomena. Yeah, he owned Skinwalker Ranch. Probably got tons of contracts with the government to do, research out there. I think that Skinwalker Ranch, personally, I think that it was an extension of MK Ultra Project 68 and the electronic warfare technologies testing grounds that was at Montauk, Camp Hero. Then they probably shut that down in I think the 70s. Camp Hero. When did they shut Camp Hero down? Boom, boom, boom. History. Military use. Oh, yeah. Preston Nichols and Peter Moon. The Montauk experiments. The Montauk Project. Yeah. They put a whole bunch of disinformation in there to cover up what they really did out there and stuff. But we know a little bit more about what the kind of research that they were really doing out there. Project Rainbow, electronic frequency mapping, trying to figure out all the frequencies that do funky things to the human neurological and physiological systems, and also create holograms and projections in the air. I think a lot of that stuff started here. They have the show Stranger Things. Remember that facility that's at the end of the thing that they find? This was what it was based on. It's hidden. It was, way at the tip. It's like you couldn't get down there. The military had an installation down there because it's, virtually inaccessible by land, and it has a good view of the, Long Island Sound and, the Northern Atlantic out there. Good, nice view. Yeah, man, we got to, maybe we'll call Elon Musk. Can we call Tesla? Let's call SpaceX. The SpaceX media contact, right? Let's do SpaceX. SpaceX media contact. There it is. Boeing media, SpaceX. All right, let's call Jessica or Rebecca. That's Boeing. These are people at Boeing. What? Find me the number for SpaceX to call. These are all Boeing numbers. Dang it. Crunchbase. Media at SpaceX. Yeah, we'll have to email them. I don't think that number will work. We're going to call everyone. I'm going to call them. Let's call a local radio station, too. Or WPRI. Yeah, dude. Call Skunkworks. Let's call Bigelow. We got to get some phone numbers and call them all. I got someone had Jeremy Corbell's phone number too, and I don't think I have him saved. They gave it to me. I didn't call Jeremy Corbell. Let's call John Dolan. I mean, Richard Dolan. Richard Dolan. That'll be funny. Yes. Yes. Send me some numbers on Twitter. Message me on Twitter. Or send me an email. Oh, we're not harassing them, dude. I'm not swearing at them and berating them. Definitely don't do that. Definitely don't harass them, man. Be cool. Be like, yo, we need to pass this great filter. There's smart people working on this. You got to trust us and give us money. Plant 42. Let's call them up. Yeah, I'm calling about the TR3B. There's no phone operators anymore anywhere, I don't think, man. I don't know. How do I contact Elon Musk? Get his personal number. Yep, OSAP is what the Bigelow, it's called BASS, Bigelow Aerospace ASS. That was the interesting connections and stuff there. And I think they're distracting people with that Skinwalker Ranch thing. I think that's what I think it is. I think it's electronic warfare technologies, because that's what TD Barnes said, you know, he's convinced all this stuff is. So that's what I think. All right, let's show that video real quick.
Holovex can be viewed by multiple people from multiple angles. It is a true volumetric display like the holograms that we've seen in movies and science fiction for so long. I can see a future where every toggle, every control you have is going to be a projected volumetric entity. You'll have buttons, you'll have signs, there's room in education and planning. Whenever you see a movie and there's a projection, it's always being used for very practical purposes. It's always being used to describe a large dimensional scene. Holovex is short for holographic vector display, and it is a volumetric display system. It draws images in the air with light. And that technology does not exist. You can 3D print an object, but it will take a long time, and it's not interactive. Holographic vector display.
Okay.
Turn it on by pressing that button.
Right here?
Yep.
Oh, man. That is so cool.
At its heart is an Edison microcontroller, and you can load images to it via USB or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. It's basically a computer. You can program it, or you can actually code for it if you're advanced. With this technology, you can create landscapes, you can create scenery and move it and change.
Yep. So that's just one. And then they can do these things with the drones. I don't know if you guys have seen that. But you really can't find the videos on these lasers that do it, but I know that they've got them. This is the thing with the drones. Program this. Yeah, so they can do pretty amazing thing with the drone swarms and the lights on the drones and stuff. But they have these other things that they that's clearly done in a graphics program. Let me see, midair, yeah. Pulse laser makes
Feeling
incredible.
sad and I have a little rain cloud over my head.
Oh my god, I live in a video game now. For visibility. I was about to get a bit technical. The word
and images in midair.
This is
The
it.
images are constructed by firing a 1 kilohertz infrared pulse laser into a 3D scanner, which reflects and focuses the pulses of the laser to specific points in the air. The molecules at that point are ionized, and the energy is released as photons. Ariel Burton believes that using this technology in emergencies will aid communication after a disaster, letting people know where to evacuate or obtain
This is
food and
daytime.
emergency supplies, as well as prioritizing transportability.
This works at
Ariel
daytime
Burton
too.
plans
It's
to market
working
the
here
display
in daytime.
overseas to increase recognition of this technology.
those photons.
Future!
No,
The
cool. No,
future!
you know what? I want someone to project a little exclamation point above my head because I'm a quest giver. I play too many video games.
Little halo. So we're gonna have little collars and just, have like our whatever we're feeling at the moment,
Oh God!
Like, am I question mark? Am I exclamation point? Or am I feeling sad and I have a little rain cloud over my head?
Oh my god, I live in a video game now. For visibility. I was about to get a bit technical. The word photo.
Yeah. You nerds. Yeah, so speaking of nerds, we should and ECCM's laser project. I want to find out a way to reach out to
Hey everybody, Adam at X Laser.
Oh, this is cool too.
Today we're going to give you a quick overview of the different parts of a laser light show projector and how they all work together in order to create these kinds of effects through the air or on a wall.
Yeah, so how these projectors work, right? So I want to send this video to our buddy, our nerd friend over here, StyroPyro, and ask him if he's because he doesn't have any videos doing any experiments with this that I know of. I don't think he's done any of this, the three-dimensional air ionizing stuff. He's built a lot of really cool lasers though. Homemade lightsaber and yeah, he's done some pretty sick things with the lasers that he's built and experimented with and tested. So there's a lot of cool laser videos. If you guys are into lasers, StyroPyro is the man. He is he's just a super nerd and he's great. He just doesn't. He has no fear either, man. He goes and puts stuff out there, man. I'm like, this kid's nuts. People are gonna kill themselves. He drove into a huge tornado outbreak and filmed 7 tornadoes, and he's just like rolling through it, like laughing, like, look at these awesome vortex. That's how I would be too, man. Guy's the man. Yes. I'd love to hang out with you someday and friggin' do a maybe I'll get him on the podcast, man. I gotta find out how I can reach out to this dude. Send me his email. I don't know how to get a hold of him. So if anyone knows how to get a hold of him, let me know. I want to get him to build one of these laser projectors and see and test this stuff out for us. See, this is the whole. He gives you the whole thing. Oh, this is great. How does this work now? Oh, yeah. Look at this.
If we add a sine wave to the y-axis at the same time as the sine wave on the x-axis, but at a 90-degree offset, you can see that now we're moving the beam both up and down and left and right at the same time, which is making it draw a circle. This circle is being drawn at a rate of once per second, or 1 hertz. If we double our speed, so 1/2 second per cycle or 2 hertz, you can see that the line is much longer. It's no longer just a single point. It looks almost like a complete circle. Here's what it looks like at 1/4 of a second. And here it is again at 1/10 of a second. Once we adjust to 1/100th of a second, you can see that the line appears completely solid, even though it is still just a single point moving through space, just very rapidly. If we put a little bit of haze in the air, you can see that this is both solid on the wall and through the air. The exact same principles apply to color modulation. The most commonly used control signal for laser diode drivers is 0 to 5 volts per color, for 0 to 100% power for each color. If we have a red voltage of 0, a green voltage of 5 volts, and a blue voltage of 0 volts, we get a bright green by itself. We now get a sign. If we then drop,
Yeah, we know about color mixing, man.
Single line right through the air.
So they can do color
So,
mixing, and
in order, this allows us to take watching this video. I hope it's giving you.
oh, so this is a different kind of these laser projectors. This is the those other ones, man. But yeah, these holographic 3D displays at that 1 kilohertz laser pulses. That was pretty neat. Oh, you can feel and hear these holograms. This is what I've been talking about, man.
Some of the most iconic tech in sci-fi history.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
We've seen hologram technology move leaps and bounds over the last few years. Maybe you caught Jesse's look at 3D volumetric displays a few weeks ago. Now, researchers from the Interact Lab at the University of Sussex have created 3-dimensional holograms you can hear and even feel. They call their device the acoustic trap display. Essentially, it's using sound to manipulate a tiny particle that traces out these images. Here's how it works. The display is made up of an array of small ultrasound speakers that produce sound waves, LED lighting, and a 2-millimeter bead. The sound waves keep the bead suspended in midair, and they can manipulate the bead's position.
Okay.
The bead moves around the display too fast for our eyes to see, so what we see is a 3D image. And remember, this is genuinely a 3-dimensional image. It doesn't just appear to have depth. That means it can be
So they could be levitating these beads
this
and
tech is
then
actually
flying them around
inspired
the
by
air
old school TVs.
really fast.
You may not be old enough to
Ultrasound.
remember CRT televisions, but they created images with a single color beam that scanned across the screen so quickly, our brains registered them as a single image. Another point worth noting, Nature reporter Lizzie Gibney saw this acoustic display up close. She said the images don't flicker in real life like they do on video. But here's where it gets really cool. The speakers can also make the beat vibrate to produce different sound waves, which means these images can freaking talk.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Now, I can't be the only one who immediately started thinking about Princess Leia sending a distress call to Obi-Wan when I saw that. If that doesn't blow your mind, we're not done yet. The ultrasound waves can also generate tactile feedback, meaning you could essentially feel the flutter of the butterfly's wings. And it's true, we're still a long way off from the holodecks we all know and love in the Star Trek universe, but there's no other volumetric display that can produce touch the way this one can. And the researchers behind it say the ability to manipulate matter without actually touching it opens up a ton of other opportunities. For example, you could mix chemicals without the risk of human contamination, or even manipulate human tissue to better deliver life-saving drugs. Scientists say a future version of this device could include multiple beads, making for a more detailed image. And this version was built using fairly inexpensive components that really any of us could buy. So don't be surprised if this appears on someone's holiday wish list in a year or two. What would you make into a talking, touchable hologram?
Again, educational purposes only. This video is by CNET. Go subscribe to them. The DARPA Open Catalog. That sounds cool, man. They do a lot of cool stuff. I'd love to get on board with something that I could make some money at. For a change, man. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do construction for. I want to get out of this trade and get into building this stuff, building some real shit. Hell yeah. All right, guys. Yeah. Freaking amaze balls. I know, man. It's pretty cool where the future is going to. But yeah, guys, tune in back at 4 p.m. tonight for our broadcast with Ian. I'll talk to you guys later.